Happy Monday. So hopefully whoever your mother figure is in your life, you were able to have a good day with them yesterday, or at least tell them thanks for what you're doing. I had a pretty awesome Mother's Day myself. This was one of my gifts given to me. I think it's pretty awesome. Since you guys see my whiteboard a ton, um, figured we'd have another little message board for you. So make sure you are being a good human as much as you can be. But today's academic lesson number 3, I believe this is, we're going to talk about active recovery and what active recovery actually is, and really being able to differentiate active recovery to a rest day. So understanding that a rest day is truly not doing anything on an activity day or non-day, where active recovery is just getting some blood flow to your muscles and helping speed up that recovery, especially on some of those days where you do get pretty tight muscles, or maybe your calves are getting sore, you might be getting shin splints, maybe your lower back is getting tight. And we're going to be able to understand after today how those active recovery days actually benefit you. The focus activity for active recovery that we're going to do this week is going to be yoga again. I promised you last week that we're going to be doing yoga again this week. And our practice this week is going to really focus on your hamstrings. So it's not going to be the same flow that we did last week. We'll do another one of those next week. But this one is going to be really focusing on that lower back and those hamstrings and your glutes. Because a lot of times when we do get a sore lower back, it is due to us having very tight hamstrings. And those of you who do want to perform athletically at a higher level, this will benefit you greatly. Okay, so as it says up here behind me, that active recovery using yoga is actually going to help that blood flow to sore muscles. Again, we're not doing it to fatigue you. You should not be really tired or sore after you do yoga. It does help you recover faster, and it really will give you energy all day. So right now, Thursday is planned to be our yoga day. So it would be great for you to be able to do this yoga practice before you even start your homework for the day. So let me get my face out of the way here, and we are going to talk about active recovery. So when we are talking about active recovery, like I said, we're talking about this is not a rest day. This isn't where you're not doing anything. An active recovery day is going to be doing something. So it's low intensity. It helps really promote that blood flow to your muscles and helps you recover better and actually recover faster. So how do you do it? Well, you have to move your body. And again, that could be going for a walk. It could be doing a very light lift. It basically is anything where you're in that blue to green zone, or really anything where you're hitting that, 3, 4, 5, 6 on the RPE scale, or being able to just talk a couple sentences at a time during the talk test. You have to move your body. You need to be active enough to increase blood flow, but make sure it's gentle enough that you're letting your muscles heal. So beating up muscles that are already really sore is not going to be in your best interest during an active recovery day. So what do you have to do? You have to pay special attention to your breathing. We talked about breathing last week with our yoga. You're going to hear me talk about it again on Thursday, but really afterwards you should feel really energized enough to start again working out the next day. So 3 things that you should aim to do is do activities that don't cause fatigue. Now, not wanting to do something does not mean it is causing fatigue. Okay, so you have to make sure you differentiate between that. You do have to address what is sore or weak and make sure you're focusing a little bit more on those body parts. And also make sure you are getting your heart rate up and you are breaking a small sweat. Okay, it doesn't need to be too intense. You shouldn't be soaking through your shirt. You shouldn't be sweating in your hair. Okay, but just enough to get that little glow across your forehead or maybe start pitting out a little bit. So again, like I promised, we are going to be talking about yoga specifically today, but really what yoga does for us, it helps lengthen our muscles and your tendons and really helps your mobility, which is the ability for a joint to move through a range of motion and also helps with muscle flexibility. So a lot of people have some beef with yoga. I teach a gymnastics class as well, which a couple of you have had me for. But when we do our yoga days on the Wednesdays you hear a lot of people just talking about how they didn't want to do yoga. They weren't really keen on it. But there's even some fitness professionals and really some high level athletes that just think yoga is just stretching and it's silly because, they might complain that they're not flexible enough. They talk about that they can't even touch their toes. and they're gonna be like, oh my gosh, I saw this video on Instagram, or maybe they saw it on something else and they think that it's absolutely ridiculous and it's impossible. And what you're going to find out today is I'm going to show you quite a few adaptations and things that you can change within yoga to make it doable. Again, doesn't matter how inflexible you are, and it doesn't matter if you are super flexible and can stick your, hand up or your foot up over your head. Doesn't matter. So what is yoga? So there's two things that it really does for you. The first thing is it helps you move good energy inside your body. And that's something that really, the more we focus on our breathing, okay, and the more we focus on just doing the yoga, okay, it's going to be a lot better. You should not do anything that makes you feel like you're having to tense a muscle up, like when we're doing our strength and conditioning workouts, but really moving them gently so you can increase blood flow through your circulatory system. And the other part is that if you've ever been super sore where you feel like even sitting down to use the toilet is super painful, that is considered like a block of healthy energy. So what we're trying to do is smooth out that flow of energy, okay, so you can feel better again. So it doesn't matter really what you look like from the outside. So when I do yoga, I do not do it in front of my family. I go down in my basement, I close the door, and make sure that there's no one coming in. And I really say, hey, I was doing yoga, stay out. Um, but it's really what you feel like on the inside while you're doing it. So really don't focus on looking silly or feeling dumb when you're doing it. Focus on how it makes you feel like in your body and really in your brain. There are, those of you who are athletes, there are a couple of benefits to bringing yoga into your practice in sports. Okay, and there's two things, there's breath control, and as many of you know who have been involved in competition, being able to control your breathing and control your stress level during athletics is a huge advantage. And also being able to visualize the right thing to do. And when you are doing yoga, again, you'll see me doing some moves and you might not be able to be at that level, but really understanding that trying to do it correctly or seeing what your body should be doing is a huge benefit. And so when we are doing today's workout, okay, you can start it like really anytime. And this yoga practice can be used at any point. So being able to promote blood flow to your sore muscles helps your muscles recover faster. And also it's the result that is going to last you all day. So make sure you understand that like, not taking an all day like Netflix binge in your bedroom is not going to be considered active recovery, and it's not helping your blood flow. Um, Making sure that you increase your joint mobility. And again, that's the ability of like, I am terrible at sitting like crisscross applesauce. Like it just kills my hips. And for me, when I do, the more yoga I do, the more comfortable I am sitting in that position. That would be an example of mobility. And being able to get your heart rate into that blue to green zone with your heart rate, or even thinking of that 3 through 6 on the RPE, or just being able to control your breathing a little bit. And finally, understanding that feeling energized, less sore, and just being in a good mood all day, usually our stress doesn't get to us as much once we've done yoga. But understanding that the main focus is to help that energy flow freely through your body to help increase that blood flow. There's a ton of online options for yoga. On YouTube, you can search for like intensity, you can search through, find what pace you want to go, the length of time, the type of equipment you need, any muscles that feel target that you need to target a little bit more. Like I said, our practice is going to be focused on hamstring, and you can go on there and on YouTube and find 15-minute hamstring focus yoga practice, and you're going to have a ton of options. But the best thing to do is if you want to try one on your own, is to try to find like a 10 or a 15-minute, what they call vinyasa flow. And that is similar to what we did last week, and it's going to be similar to what you're going to be doing next week as well. So this week's focus, like I said, is going to be our hamstrings and focusing on breathing. Okay, here's just an awesome screenshot of what you're going to be doing. You notice I have some yoga blocks, which are these right here. I'm going to show you that you can just use like a big fat book as well, textbook, or even a Harry Potter book. And what I have here, what is a power band, like what we have in the weight room at Eastview. You can use like a tie, you can use a belt, you can use a bath towel. Okay? Or even if you have a stretching strap, that's awesome to use as well. I am not flexible enough to be able to use my hand on my foot. Okay? I can't do that. So for me to be able to use the stretching strap is really going to help me be able to relax the rest of my body. I happen to be able to get my knees straight while I'm stretching here Many of you are not going to be able to do it, so I'm going to show you some adaptations that you can make where you can actually keep your knee bent without any judgment, without any harm done. Okay? So really making sure you guys understand that doing yoga does not have to be what some people think is cheesy. I really like the breathing behind it. I personally don't really get into the whole yoga culture, but I am always barefoot when I do it. I always make sure I do have a mat or something that my feet can grip onto. As some of you found out last week, that can be somewhat of a challenge. But really making sure you just try. Okay, a lot of you said that you wanted to focus on your breathing this week. A lot of you mentioned that you actually felt really good after doing it. So hopefully you get that same benefit today. And your exit ticket today is going to be a notes check. Okay, it's going to be an assessment that's going to test that you actually watched the video and took something away from the video. So have fun. And again, this isn't going to be until Thursday. We're going to have a normal workout tomorrow. Wednesday is going to be a day off. Thursday is going to be your yoga day. Get up and do it right away. Yeah.